busy. I don't ever smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some ditsies. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to run. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Well, welcome guys, Miss Liz in the house, and we had an incredible afternoon this afternoon with Mark Harping. Please go out and check that tea time. But tonight I have, all the way from Australia, I have Louis Swart in the house. And Swart, I hope I'm saying it right. If not, I will get him to pronounce it. And we're going to be talking about his tea. And his tea tonight is learning continuously, teaching intentionally, and leveraging people, system, and AI to build freedom-driven businesses. That is the tea we are serving tonight in the house. But before we get started, you guys know how Miss Liz rolls. Get over to all those platforms: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Lemonade, LinkedIn, all of those good ones, Alignable, all those good platforms out there. And also check out the podcast apps, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Listen Notes, Spotify. If I haven't mentioned any of them, I am on all of them. So just go out and check out all the podcast apps. Just do a Google Miss Liz's Tea Time. But also check out babyboomers.org because Miss Liz is partnered with them. If you'd like to be on other podcast shows or you're looking to hear different episodes in different flavors and blends, check out babyboomers.org. There's many, many different podcasters over there as well. Let's get started with disclaimer and then a beautiful intro, and then we're going to get Louis in here and we're going to spill some tea and have some fun tonight. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicating to sharing real life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. I'm Miss Liz is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners' and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of the discussions, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly at my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com or visit my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. I, Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart, and if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect your wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Well, welcome to Tea Time with Miss Liz, where conversations remind us that leadership is not simply about building companies. It is about building resilience, vision, purpose, and people through every chapter of the journey. Today's guest brings a story of determination, discipline, endurance, and the mindset required to lead through challenge, and change. Please join me in welcoming Louis Swart, entrepreneur, speaker, endurance athlete, and CEO of Ironbrij. Louis understands that growth is not built inside comfort zones. Through business leadership, endurance, challenges, and life experience, he continues to inspire others to push beyond limitation and step into their own fullest potential. His journey reflects the reality that success is not about perfection. It is about persistence, learning through setbacks, staying focused during uncertainties, and continuing to move forward when many would stop. Today's Tea Time is about leadership through adversity, building resilience and purpose, discipline, mindset, and endurance, growth through challenge and transformation, and learning how to lead yourself before leading others. Lewis reminds us that pressure does not always destroy us. Sometimes pressure reveals the strength we did not know we had. So grab your cup and join us for a powerful conversation filled with insight, motivation, and real life tea, truth, experience, and awareness. So let me get Lewis in here and let's spill some tea.
Thank you
Welcome.
so much. Thank you so much, Miss Liz. Really, really, honored to be here. Yeah, the endurance thing. I'm not an endurance athlete. I think that might be I've done. I think business is you've got to be like super good at endurance just to get through business. I've been in business for 35 years, and sometimes it feels like an endurance race. Hey, where you just want to give up. You're just like, oh, I've had it. I always say, if you haven't at one point felt like you want to run away and live under a coconut tree somewhere, then you will actually, you haven't been in business long enough. And, we have those days when we just go, no, maybe I should just go and get a job. Like, this is all too hard. I should just go and get a job. Or like we literally just want to run away, And I've had that a couple of times in business, I can tell you. I have it sometimes. I have it a couple of times a week. But, we carry on because that's what we do. We're entrepreneurs and we're looking for the next thing. We want to help the world and we want to, that's what we're doing. So it's a big endurance race and,
So Lewis, let's get to know you a little bit. So who was Lewis as a little guy and who's Lewis now?
I was a very happy little guy. And then about 12 years old, I actually rode my bicycle onto a freeway and got hit by a motor car. And I was in a coma for 3 weeks. I was in hospital for 6 months. I woke up, can't remember anything from before I was 12. And so I always say my life started at 12. That's what I kind of say, my life started at 12 and I learned how to walk and talk again. The doctors told Mum that I may not have normal brain function. And, but, I was able to work through it. I spent the rest of my life actually just striving to do as much as I possibly could, working harder than everybody else, to get ahead. And I had these major ups and downs in my life. And then I got to about, by the time I was 30, I'd sold a business for $5 million with my brother. And we actually, that business, we had 200 staff working for us. And then moved to Australia and started a couple of different businesses, some epic fails, some great wins. And the last business that we built to 35 million with 450 staff. But I didn't feel happy. I felt like there was something broken internally in me. And so I then actually went and became a hypnotherapist and a timeline therapist and a NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, NLP master practitioner. And I did all these different modalities to fix me. And I think that there's been a beautiful journey for me personally because I've discovered so much about myself. Lots of times we live in a world and we kind of, if something good goes right, I did that. Something bad happens in our life, we go, this happened to me. And I think once we can learn that the good and the bad is both, we did it. We brought it into our worlds. And I know that subject is very hard for a lot of people to kind of get their head around. But once we can look at every situation and go, why does this happen? What have I got to learn from whatever this has happened, whether it's good or not so good? And so those are the things that we want to work on. How do we improve that? And once we get to that point in our lives, we have a different sort of freedom. Hey, we have a freedom where we're not chasing the success, the picture of what success looks like to other people.
Well, Louis, I wanted you on because you talk about burnout, right? And a lot of the successful people burn out because they're go, 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 right? We have a question here from Matt that goes with the burnout is what was the biggest lesson Louis learned from burnout?
The fact that you can't do it all yourself. So we literally, what happens is we actually work, we work harder and harder and harder, and we actually think that by working harder and harder, we're gonna be more successful. And the reality is that super successful people don't necessarily work harder than us. And we've all heard the thing, don't work harder, work smarter. But what does that actually mean? And I've got a formula. I've got a formula for it that people can do. So how it works is, if you worked for a boss now, you'd probably work, in a normal job, you'd work a 40-hour week, and you'd probably work 50 weeks a year. So if you take 40 by 50, you've got about 2,000 hours this year that you're going to be working. Now, if you want to earn $200,000, you've got to divide 200,000 by 200 hours, and that gives you a figure of $100 an hour. So, like, now you've got a benchmark. You need to earn $100 every single hour, at least $100, because some hours you're not going to work, But so you've got a benchmark of $100. Now, if you're doing $10 an hour jobs, because you go, you know what, I'll just quickly do it. It's quicker if I do it myself. I won't get an intern to do it. I'll just quickly do it myself. I won't get a VA to do it. I'll just do it myself. It's going to take me a bit longer to teach AI how to do this. I'll just do it myself. And so now you're doing $10 an hour work. What happens is, for that hour, you haven't actually saved $10. You've actually lost $90 because you've done $10 work. So the next hour, you now need to make $100, plus you need to make $90 that you lost the hour before. And this is the problem that most people have, is that we go out there and, we were all taught, if you want something done right, you need to
do it yourself.
We all know that. We were brought up with that. And it's not true. It is completely not true. Right. If I want my car serviced, would be shocking. I'd have, like, if I did it myself, there'd be pieces all over the garage, and I'd probably have to get somebody to come and tow the car away and put it back together by the time I was finished. Okay, I'm the wrong person to do that. If I want my books done, my accounting done, I really don't like doing accounting. And so I would just delay it forever, and it just wouldn't get done. So I am the wrong person to do those tasks. Okay, but getting somebody that really loves doing that, some people just love working on a car engine, and they love getting their hands dirty, and, I don't know, all those things. I don't like doing it. So I'd be the wrong person. But it's exactly the same in our business. In our business, or even if we're an employee, think about what are the things you love doing. What are the things that are worth more than $100 an hour? Okay. And those you need to be doing. So if you, if you're running a podcast, what are the things that are worth more than $100 an hour? Would it be this, being in the podcast? Would it be talking to talking to advertisers and trying to get more sponsors onto it? Would it be potentially just quickly interviewing guests to make sure that they're right? Those things are all worth more than $100 an hour. Actually editing the podcast, that's worth sort of, you can get that done for like $10 an hour. Okay. Reaching out to a whole lot of people and asking them if they want to be on your podcast, that's a $10 an hour job. But if you're trying to do the $10 an hour job and the $100 an hour job, and you're trying to do them all at the same time, you literally have not got enough time. So, a cool way to think about it like this. You go and started a new business, and they say to you, Liz, can you be the accounts person? And you go, yeah, I can do the accounts. And then they go, well, Liz, can you also build websites for us? And okay, I'll build websites for you. And Liz, we need somebody to clean the toilets. Can you clean the toilets? And you're like, well, yeah, I suppose I can clean the toilets. And Liz, there's a coffee. We make everybody in the office coffee. Can you just make the coffee for everybody in the office? And you're like, yeah, I suppose so. And Liz, when we have meetings, can you print out all the paperwork for everybody? You're like, yeah. And then you take on 10 people's jobs, and then you burn out, and you go, I don't know why I burnt out.
Right.
I don't know why.
You just put yourself into 10 different branches, right? Like you're just pulling yourself apart, like pulling the roots apart.
Absolutely. And we do exactly that in our own business. We do exactly that sometimes when we work for bosses. So the thing with the focus is it's not what can we add. To be successful, don't think about what you can add onto what you're doing. Think about what you can take away from what you're doing.
I could give you a long list of stuff that we could take away.
Right, but we all think we've got to add more. We all think I've got to add extra stuff into my day. I've got to add extra stuff. I've got to do more if I want to make money. And lots of times it's actually we've got to do less. Yeah. And that's the really important part, So they talk about Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and people like that, and they are super, super focused on exactly what they're doing, but they're also super, super focused on exactly what they're not doing. So imagine if you Elon Musk, people must be coming to you with business ideas every 5 seconds of the day, and you could go, oh, hang on, okay, that sounds like a reasonable idea. Maybe we should look at that. Or this sounds like. They don't. They go, is this in line with the big picture that I'm doing? If it's not in line with it, don't even talk to me. I don't want to know about it. And so we do that in our way. We do that. We go on socials and we go, you know what I'm going to do? Lots of us go on for research. We go for research. So I'm going to get better. Okay, so I start researching, and I've done it. I go in there and I'm like, I'm going to see what other virtual assistant companies are doing. And then after half an hour, I'm watching some guy on a boat and he's got a bow and arrow and he's fishing with a bow and arrow off a boat. And I've probably been watching silly stuff like that for the last, 20 minutes. And I'm like, how did I get from I'm focused and I'm going to do this to watching some guy fishing with a bow and arrow off a boat? I literally ended up watching some guy fishing with a bow and arrow off a boat. Weirdest thing. Okay. But the people that are really successful are the ones that know how to isolate that stuff, Yeah. And it's not, the thing is, it's not when you think, this is going to be easy. Hey, so for example, Liz, can you do the accounts? And you go, no, I can't do the accounts. I don't like doing accounts. It's easy to say, no, I can't do the accounts. I don't like it. And it's easy to say no. But I go, hey, Liz, I'm having a party. Do you want to come to my party? If it's not in line with your big plan, that is where the real focus comes in. It's not saying no when it's something that you don't really want to do. It's saying no when it's something that you really do want to do, but it's not in line with where you're going. So that's the difference between the two.
Well, Louis, we have some questions that are coming in, and I'd like to get them out to you. The first one that's coming in is from Teatime Show, and it's how can entrepreneurs create better work-life balance?
Definitely by delegating. You definitely want to work out if you can delegate the low-value tasks, it makes just absolute sense. If you can do stuff for $100 an hour, and then you can delegate 10 hours of $10 per hour tasks. So instead of working 11 hours a day, you work 1 hour a day, you work 2 hours a day, you make $100 a first hour for yourself. The next hour, you make enough for the person to work for you the whole next day. So you literally have got somebody doing the whole next day for you. So that's the one way. AI now is phenomenal. The stuff that we can do with it. So we help people build AI agents, for example. And some of the things that we did, for example, I'll give you an idea. I actually do, every time I have meetings all during the day, when I have a meeting, my EA would normally go in and she'd actually get the person's details and she'd compile a list for me. What is this person? What business are they in? What are their speciality? What can we talk about? What would be good questions to ask them? Okay. And she used to do that manually. Then she got ChatGPT and we started doing it with ChatGPT. So she'd go and put the details in and get ChatGPT. Now we just created an agent that does that. So if you book a coffee chat with me, I've got an agent that goes in and says, who is this person? Give me all the details. Give me a breakdown. Tell me exactly who they are, what they do, what kind of questions I should ask them about. And it does all that. on the flip side, when I finished the call with you, my VA used to do a follow-up email saying, hey, thank you so much for the call. Here's some of the links if you want to become an affiliate with Louis, if you want to, sign up for his programs, etc. The agent, the AI agent that we built now does that as well. So when I finish a meeting, the AI agent goes, hey, what did we talk about? Da, 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 da. Okay. And then it puts that together. And then it says, hey, in the meeting, here's the affiliate link. If you want to sign up as an affiliate, here's a, casual services link or a VIP link if you want 6 months of content in 1 hour. And so that whole process is done just by AI now, instead of us doing it by a human. Now that makes us have much better work-life balance.
AI does save a lot of time, but you also have to be able to check it, right?
Absolutely. You definitely can put guardrails in for it. And I mean, let's be honest, Liz. If you told me something and I didn't quite know you, or even if I knew you, if you told me something, I may go, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if that's right. Okay, I would have to use discernment. Yeah. Even when we're talking to humans, AI copies humans, and humans lie.
Oh, they do.
And so AI is just copying us. And then we go, oh, hey, this AI lies. So do we.
Yeah.
So do we.
But that's the thing, right? Everything is imperfected. There is no perfection.
Absolutely. But so that's why I believe that the combination of a human and AI is really the most ideal situation. So, I've got a virtual assistant company, and I provide staff from the Philippines to companies, and that's super easy. But I also help people to put in AI agents. But I think that the best combination is definitely where you have a human and you have AI, because then you're getting the best of both worlds, and you're not the one who has to learn it. I used to train people on AI, and I can tell you, I can train you on something on AI today, and next week it's completely superseded. You don't do it that way anymore. You do it in a completely different way, and then you go, but it took me the whole week to learn how to do the first thing. And I go, well, you don't have to worry about that anymore. AI does that now. We just do this. And a great example was I used to show people how to go into ChatGPT. So you could go into ChatGPT, and I don't know if you ever saw those movie posters. I could be in an Iron Man movie poster. But ChatGPT wouldn't do my face, because it would do similar to my face, but not exactly.
Or make you look like you didn't even look yourself.
True. And then you would use another AI called Remaker, and Remaker would actually swap the faces across. And so it would look perfect. And I taught people how to do that for like 2 weeks. Okay. Amazing. Right. And then the next one that came out was Nano Banana. And Nano Banana went, don't worry, Louis, if you want to look like Iron Man, we'll make you look straight like Iron Man. You don't need any of the other software to do it. And so then it was like, wow, okay. There was a whole different level. And it's the same with these agents. Everyone's talking about agents. You should get an AI agent. And agents used to be super, super complicated and super, super expensive to build an agent. All right. You had to get it to do stuff, and you had to do coding, and you had to do all this stuff in the background. And then things like N8N. N8N's an amazing software that came out. You can run it locally on your machine, or you can run it on a server, or you can get N8N to host it. And you can say, when this happens, do this, and then open my email, and then go into my email, and then go into my contacts, and then, look somewhere else, and then basically put it all together. And so then we used N8N, and we're like, this N8N is amazing. And I mean, it is amazing, amazing technology. And then we looked at, OpenClaw. OpenClaw came out, and now OpenClaw, you can literally just get a computer, put it in your office, and you run this agent on there, and then that agent, you can talk to them through WhatsApp or Telegram, and that agent actually will sort out your stuff on your computer. And there's AI issues. Apparently there was a guy, and he went, I really want to go to Rome. And the agent just went, okay, looked at his calendar, said, well, you've got free next Wednesday, and then just booked him a trip using his credit card and said, you're now going to Rome next Wednesday. Okay. So there's there's guardrails. We have to put these things in where we protect ourselves, because more and more we're giving access to a whole lot of technology that it's amazing. It's amazing stuff, but it also can do stuff that maybe we don't really think about. We don't, I want to go to Rome. We just say that in a conversation, might be in a podcast, and I'm like, hey, I'd love to go to Rome one day. And AI's like, all right, sweet, get Louis into Rome.
All of a sudden, you got the plane tickets to go to Rome. How did that happen? AI got it done for me.
Very true, very true. So they have the paperclip. Have you heard about the paperclip?
Yes, the red paperclip, right?
No, so they say, imagine if you just told AI your job is to make as many paperclips as possible.
Oh, okay, this is a different one.
It could collapse the whole world. It could collapse the whole world, because it just goes, I need to make paperclips. And so it starts making paperclips. And then it goes, well, I've run out of material to make paperclips. I need more iron. And so it just starts basically melting down cars and melting down everything to make more paperclips. And it'll just make mountains and mountains and mountains of paperclips, because that's its job. So we've got to be careful with what we tell it. But it's fascinating. We live in such an amazing era when, it was Mother's Day the other day, and, an idea for you is go into ChatGPT or Claude or any one of the ones that's free on your phone, Gemini, any of them, and literally say, hey, I'd love to write a song for my partner, or I'd love to write a song for my friend, or I'd love to write a song for my mum or my dad. And then on the song, just say, hey, I love this about you. I love that about you. I really enjoyed when we did this, and I love this. And you write all this stuff. GPT will then give you song lyrics, or any one of them will give you the song lyrics. You take those, which is free, that's already free. And if you gave that to somebody, already it's beautiful. Okay. Or you could give them that as a poem. Beautiful. Okay. You could handwrite that poem on a card. Incredibly beautiful. Or you could take that poem and you could put it into something like Suno, which is also free AI. And you could then get that poem made into a full song. Or that, imagine that.
Yeah. Well, my son wrote the intro for Teatime, and he put it into Donna, and Donna put the music to it. So that's how the opening of intro of Miss Liz's Teatime is my son wrote the song and he put it into Donna. He asked for the kind of music and the flow that he wanted, but it was all like he wrote the song and then he just asked for the music part of it to get it that little twangy side, because that's the kind of music that mommy likes, right? So
beautiful. Imagine trying to do that back in the day.
Right. But a lot of AI, a lot of people feel afraid of AI because it is overpowering, because there is so many of them. There's so many different ones. But if you look at AI, they're like individual people, how we have different talents, different skills and stuff like that. So you've mentioned about 12 different AI so far, right, Louis? So those 12 different AIs are 12 different people, guys. Like, don't be scared of them. Work with them, and question them just like you would question a human being. And that's what you said, Louis, was, the best team is a human being and an AI. Work together, get to know each other. And the AI will call you out on your stuff, and it's okay, because that's what we need. We need that feedback of saying, you know what, you're not being honest right now. Like, this is not who you are. Are you having a bad day? I argue with all of the AIs out there. I use multiple ones to try different things, and we're like a married couple sometimes. We're just like going back and forth, and it's like, that's not what you do, and that's what we got to be open-minded to the reality of technology that is coming towards us. Not be afraid of it, not be scared of it, because I find that a lot of my listeners and a lot of people that I talk to about AI, they're scared of it. They're scared of it overtaking, but it can no longer overtake if you don't give it the power to overtake. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Look, I think, like anything, find one that you like, and literally just play with that one. I use GPT.
Date that one for a while. If that one's not a good one, date another one.
Absolutely. I use GPT and I love GPT. Okay, and I will be on GPT. I have Claude, I have Gemini, I have all these others, but GPT is my go-to. It's my friend. Okay, and I talk to GPT, and I've been able to do amazing things with GPT. It's a little bit like our phones. If you think about, I've got an Android phone, and I've got a friend and he's got an iPhone, and he'll be like, Louis, you should use the iPhone because it does X, Y, Z. And I'm like, mate, I don't even use a tenth of the things that my phone already has. I use it for phone calls and use it for a couple of other things, but I'm not using the full services of it. I'm not going to be looking at 10 other phones. I'm going to try and work out what are the things that I need to do, and then how do I just do those things.
Yeah.
And for the people that are out there and scared of AI, you're completely right. AI is taking over. When the internet started, my parents were like, that's ridiculous. Who's going to want the internet? When computers first came, I remember my dad saying, who's going to sit in front of a box all day looking at a box? And yet now we do. When we were kids, we were told, don't talk to strangers. Okay. And now that's what I do all day for a living.
We talk to strangers every day.
We were told definitely don't ever get into a car with a stranger. And I do that every single time I get an Uber. It's like the whole world has changed, and it is constantly changing. And, let's just don't be too scared of it. Okay. Yeah. Embrace it for what it can do for you. Let's say you wrote your mum a song. Okay. How beautiful is that? That is something that there's no way you would have ever been able to do that, previously. And AI has allowed you to do that. AI has actually allowed you to have a closer connection and to really just take that in creativity that you've already got and put that creativity into a form that other people can enjoy and appreciate. And I think it's a beautiful thing. Okay. It's a scary thing. Absolutely, it's a scary thing, but it's a beautiful thing. Just get out there, start using it, and let's all make the world a better place.
Absolutely. Well, Louis, I want to get into the Ironbrij. Ironbrij am I saying it right? Ironbrij?
Yes.
How did that come about? And we have a question here that asks exactly that. What inspired Louis to start Ironbrij?
I actually had a business. And I'm not, I was, like I said before, I was turning over 35 million. And then what happened was that I actually then started feeling like I was broken because I should be super happy, but I wasn't happy. I'd reached what people would say is success, what I would have said was success. And then I went on this journey to try and work out how do I fix myself. And along the way, I met so many beautiful people. And a lot of these people were smaller businesses, and they were coaches and healers, and they just weren't making money. They were helping the world, but they weren't making money. They didn't have the systems in place. They didn't have the processes in place. And I was like, well, how do I help these people? How do I help these people to help more people? And so that was when I started Ironbrij. And the idea was to bridge the gap between where you are now and where you know that you could be. We all know that we've got amazing magic in us, and we just need that little bit of help to get us to the next level. That, we just need that little bit of help. And sometimes it's some advice. Sometimes it's actually just having somebody that can help us to, be able to implement. Because I'm a firm believer in implementation. We live in an era now when information is so abundant. Information is actually free. And literally, do you know that every day on Facebook, guess how many posts go live on Facebook every single day? Just on Facebook.
Oh, billions.
350 million posts go live on Facebook every day. 350 million.
Wow.
So it's not like we need more content. It's not like we need to know more information, but we're terrible at implementing because we're like chasing information here, then we're chasing information, then we're chasing information. Then I'll just watch this on YouTube, make sure that I'm doing it right. Oh, somebody else said I should do something else. Let me try something else. and we don't implement anything. And then at the end of the day, we go, I've got this whole brain that's full of information, but I haven't implemented any of it.
Well, and I think that's where, Louis, that's where burnout comes out as well, right? Because we're not paying attention to the signs. And that goes with Golf Tips question here. What is the first signs of burnout business owners ignore? I think it's not just business owners. I think everyday people as well. We ignore the signs that are right in front of us. We're just overstimulated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, there's some standard signs. There's some standard things. Like if you wake up in the morning and you're not happy to be alive. If you wake up in the morning and you think, oh, I've got to go to work. If you wake up in the morning and you got to drag yourself out of bed. These are not good signs.
Yeah.
If you're going into the office and you're like, oh, it's Monday, I don't really want to be there. This is not a good sign. This means that either you're doing a job that's not in line with where you want to be, okay, or you're pushing yourself too hard with the stuff that you're doing, or you're not working smart enough. You know, you haven't really worked out what your vision is. But I find that the more that people actually have we have this thing, and we have people where they, when they've got a vision and you've got a goal and they're driven towards it, like we call that passion. Yeah. And I mean, that's really where you want to be. Have you ever had that thing where you come home from work? Has this ever happened to you? You come home from work and you're sitting on the couch and you're like, man, my brain is dead. Hey, I'm like dead tired. Hey?
I'm dead. I'm out.
I call it my brain's fried. My brain's fried, okay? And I go, my brain's fried, and I'm literally going to put on Netflix. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter what's on. I'm just going to put on Netflix, and I'm just going to like look at the TV. I'm going to look in that general direction, okay? And this is it. This is me for the night. And then you get a phone call, and it's one of your friends, and they're like, hey, Louis, I've just got tickets to this music concert, and the person's bailed on me. Do you want to come? Okay, I'll pick you up in half an hour. Now, suddenly, I jump off that couch like a bolt of lightning. Okay, I'm running around the house. I'm getting ready. I'm doing all the things. I've suddenly got this massive burst of energy. Okay, I go to the concert. I party till like all hours of the morning. Okay. Like, when we get older, it takes like 2 weeks to recover. Okay.
You party till 8 p.m. and then you go to bed.
True, absolutely. But, you've got to think about it. Where did that extra energy come from? Where did that energy come from? Did the energy come from the fact that I just had better supplements? Did it come from the fact that I did something different or did more exercise? It just came from the fact that I suddenly now had a new goal and I had a passion for that goal. So if you're in business and you're not feeling that passion, maybe you're in the wrong place.
Well, it's kind of like adding tequila to lemonade, right? You got to add a little spice to it. And then you get up and you're, let's do this, right? Well, Louis, you talked about Ironman. You talked about Ironbrij. Does iron mean something to you? That word iron? Does it give you strength?
I think that iron, to me personally, iron is extremely strong. Okay. And when you think about like a bridge, for example, iron is something that's incredibly strong. It's easy to work with. And it's, let's say we had a system. Okay. And we had an iron system in place. The problem is that I live in Sydney and the Sydney Harbour Bridge is rusting, okay? And literally it's rusting. And what they do is they start at one side and they take off the rust and they repaint it and they work all the way along the bridge until they get to the end of to the other side. And then they go back and they start at that side again. So they constantly are working on the bridge, okay? They're constantly like repairing it. Getting rid of rust, repainting it. And it's like that in our business. Lots of times we put something in place and we go, this is amazing. It's going to be great. And it is great. But we've got to go back and actually just check on it. Just check that it's working. We might have an AI system, and today the AI system may be amazing and it might do exactly what we want. And then tomorrow it might start kind of bending the truth a bit. They call it hallucinations. AI doesn't lie; it hallucinates.
AI hallucinations. That is something I have not had on tea time.
Yeah, if we humans, we lie. If we humans, we lie. Terrible. If we AI, we just hallucinate. So, I don't know. Next time I'm in trouble, I'm just going to be like, it was a hallucination. It was
an overload, right? The robot had an overload. Yeah. I always tell those things that the AIs, go and reboot yourself. Like, take a time out. Like, you need to get out of here right now, because there's so much information that goes through their brains as well, right? Their programming that sometimes they do have an overload, and they're just like, oh, I'm just tired of talking with Miss Liz. I don't want to talk with Miss Liz anymore. Like, can I just get a break? So then they just throw a bunch of garbage at you, right? Just to get you to say, you know what? It's time. We're both out of here. Take a time away. It's like a relationship.
Absolutely. They've actually proven that if you say to it, just take a breather, have a bit of time, and then do this, it actually does a better job. Which is weird. I mean, that's what we tell a human, just take your time, just chill, and then do this. It actually does a better job. But
and that's kind of like pivoting, right? When you pivot a business, you're recharging yourself. You're saying, okay, you know what? That old AI wasn't working for me, so let's pivot and let's go to a new AI. Let's go to a new way of thinking, of doing business. Yeah. And with Ironbrij, what you do is you offer the AI assistance. You offered quite a bit of assistance here. Let me get my book here. I got my notes here. So you got the virtual assistant, then you have the account assistant, you have services NDIS virtual assistant. What is that? We're getting to that. And then social media virtual assistants.
Yeah. So look, pretty much, people ask me, what can a virtual assistant do? And the reality is anything that you can do on your computer, pretty much they can do. Okay. They can't make you coffee in your office yet. Okay. But anything that you can do on your computer, you can literally get done. So if you're looking at accounts, if you're looking at admin, if you're looking at your social media, reaching out to people on socials, finding your ideal target market on socials, chatting to them, bringing them in, any of that type of stuff you can actually get done. The NDIS in Australia, there's a disability support services, and they can actually help in the back end with a whole lot of that stuff.
Oh,
so you can't, then people can't physically be on site. The business that I had before, I literally had some people doing my accounts, and they would do payroll. They would pay the 450 people. They've got to get paid. They would be working out who's got to get paid, paying the people. There'd be other people online invoicing the customers, chasing customers for money. There'd be people scheduling in people for jobs, scheduling people out to go out to work. There'd be people checking up competencies, people doing training, checking up the training. All of that stuff would be done offshore. So, and the saving is massive. In Australia, our minimum wage is $25 an hour. Plus we pay a 10%, 12%, whatever superannuation on top of that. Plus we pay, if you get too many people, you've got to pay a payroll tax, and you've got to pay all these other taxes. And so your average person comes out at about $30 an hour, and you can get somebody offshore for sort of, $10 an hour. So, we had 18 staff, and those 18 staff saved us $45,000 a month.
Wow.
Just by putting 18 staff offshore.
And you're collaborating with different countries as well. So you're not working with just your country, you're working with different countries.
Yeah.
So Louis, we have a question here for you from Rochelle, and it's, what are the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make with time management?
Great question, Rochelle. I think the biggest thing is the stuff that we've already discussed. I can do it myself. It's easier. We taught that we can manage time, and the reality is that there's no managing time. Time is exactly the same. We all get exactly the same amount of time in the day, and so it's not about us managing time. It's about us managing how we're using time. And if we are actually using time to do a $10 an hour task, or we're using time to do tasks that we could get AI to do, unfortunately, we're not going to make money. We just can't make money because, you're doing a $10 an hour task. That means that in a week you've done 40 hours and you should earn $400. And if you're expecting to earn $4,000, you're kidding yourself if you're doing $10 an hour work, and lots of entrepreneurs look at it almost like the lotto. Okay. I'll ask them, how much do you want to earn? And they go, I want to earn $500,000. Super noble. Love you. You definitely deserve it. Okay. What are you doing for it? Well, I'm just going to every day get on meetings and then reach out to people and somehow I'm going to get it. And I'm going, you know what you better to do? It's just to take your money and put it in the lotto every day. Okay. Put it onto the lottery every day. You got a better chance. Doing that. Okay. Because the reality is they haven't broken it down. They haven't gone, I want to earn 500,000 for this next year. Okay. So in order to do that, how many customers do I need? So let's say I sell a program and it's $5,000 a program. So if I want to earn 500,000, I've got to sell 100. I've got to get 100 clients. If I want to get 100 clients, how many clients do I need to reach out? How many calls do I need to make to set up one appointment with the client? And you might go, I've got to physically reach out to 10 clients to get one appointment. Okay, how many appointments do I have to do to actually, close a client? Maybe I've got to do 3 to close a client. So every 30 clients that I reach out to, I'm going to close one client. Now I need 100 clients. So I literally need to reach out to, what is that? Every 30 gives me one client. So I need to reach out to 3,000 clients. So how am I going to reach out to 3,000 clients? What are you going to?
But wouldn't you have to reach out to 30,000 clients if you want 100?
Well, 30 is one. So 300 is 10.
Yeah.
So 3,000 is 100.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yes.
I don't know.
For all my listeners out there, check my math. Check Miss Liz's math.
No, but so if you break it down like that, and now you go, okay, well, I need to reach out to 3,000 clients. So how am I going to reach out to 3,000 clients? Okay. Then it becomes really easy. And then it's just like following that little line. When you do put the nav man on and you go, I want to go over there, and you're just following this little line. Okay. And then sometimes it says turn left, and we turn left too early or too late, or we forget about it. And it just reroutes us and goes, hey, this is what you need to do. And sometimes that's going to happen in our life. We've got to reach out to 3,000 clients. That means I'm going to reach out to, I don't know, 100. I don't know. There's figures too.
As you're doing this, Louis, I'm thinking Pac-Man, right? You're going down, you're eating, boom, 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 boom. Oh, there's a ghost. Oh no, you got to start again, right? Start again.
Yes.
And that's how business is, right? You got to keep starting over. Like you got to keep paying attention for the ghost, right? When you're in Pac-Man,
100%.
You got to watch, right? The trail and all that. But with AI and with the virtual assistant, you're taking away that ghost and you're giving them the opportunity to get further down the path and get through that area, if I'm understanding, right?
Yes.
See,
Absolutely.
You got to just put some Pac-Man in there and you guys will get it. I'm kind of giving my age away here.
Well, now they're called retro. They're
right?
not trend retro games. But So
when you're putting the virtual assistant together with somebody and you're partnering up with them, do you have like a form that they fill out, a questionnaire, so that they align with the virtual assistant? Like, how does that work?
Absolutely. So what we would do is we would interview the person and then find out exactly what they want. And then I've got a recruitment team and they'd go off and they'd interview about 300 people. And then they'd get 3 people that they think are the closest to what the client wants. And then the client would interview those 3 people. And if they interview them and they're not quite on point, we'd go and find more. But generally in those 3 people, the right person is on point. And then we would provide a whole lot of back-end support and training and then get that person into a business. So it's a very streamlined process. We've been doing it for a long time. We've worked out all the things. I could talk to you about virtual assistants for hours. I mean, there's a whole lot of things that people do. For example, if you've got a virtual assistant, they really want to please you. Now, to the point where you will say, can you do this? And they will say yes. Okay. And then they will go off and they've got no idea how to do it. And then a week later, you'll be like, hey, where's that thing? And they'll be like, okay, I'm working on it. And then 2 weeks later, you'll be like, where the hell's my document? Okay. And then they'll just vanish because they don't actually know how to do it. And they were too embarrassed to tell you after a week.
Yeah.
And because they said yes in the very first place. So there's some stuff we can do, like asking open-ended questions. Hey, I need you to do this. Can you tell me how you're going to start? Where you going to start? What do you need from me to be able to complete this? Okay. And what that does is it allows us to really work out if they do understand what we've asked them to do. So, if I said to you, can you do this? And you said yes. And then I go, what are your first steps going to be? And you go, I've got no idea. Then I know you've got no idea what I've actually asked you to do, even though you said yes.
So how does a virtual assistant, Louis, save time with entrepreneurs when they're building their businesses with the different types of businesses? Because there's so many different types of entrepreneurs out there. How can a virtual assistant help entrepreneurs save time?
There's so many ways. Absolutely. Anything that you are doing now that's not a high value task, a virtual assistant can do. So, you're reconciling your credit card statements, actually reaching out to people on LinkedIn, reaching out to podcasts like yourself, to see if for me to be on this podcast, the whole thing was done through my virtual assistants. And my virtual assistants reached out to you and spoke to you and set the whole meeting up so that I
So was he cute or was he pretty? Like, was it a guy? Was it a girl?
It's cute.
I want to know who's setting these dates up.
But that's what they do. See, so and literally I've got a list of 150 things, and I'm happy to give it to your, any of your listeners, 150 things that they can delegate, and they can literally just reach out and, I can literally reach out and have a coffee with me. And I don't actually drink coffee. I only drink tea, but you can reach out and have a virtual coffee with me. Okay. Virtual tea doesn't sound as cool. Hey, have a virtual tea.
No, virtual tea doesn't sound cool. Virtual coffee does. And I'm Miss Liz. I'm the tea lady, but you know what? I have coffee in my cup tonight, guys. I have a late night. I got a lot of stuff that I got to do. So I got coffee. Guys, don't ever think I'm drinking just tea in this room. I'm drinking juice, water, tea, sometimes something a little stronger when I need it.
The lemonade and vodka.
There we go, with a tequila, with a little twist of lime. Like, you just never know what's in Miss Liz's cup. Louis, I'm kind of curious who set the date up, like who set the podcast up, like the virtual assistant. Is it a male? Is it a female? Is it like how old? Like, is it in my age range? Like, how do we do these things?
How do you find them? You literally just reach out. You literally just have a coffee with me. You just have a coffee with me, and I will show you exactly how it works. I'll show you how it could work for your business. And you just reach out and say, "Hey, Louis, I'm trying to do this thing," and I'll tell you. I'm almost sure that I can either do it with virtual assistants or AI or a combination of the two, and definitely save you so much time.
So, Louis, do you just serve Australia, or do you serve like around the world?
I do Australia, UK, USA. So, yeah.
You do all of them except for Canada. I'm in Canada.
No, I do Canada. Look, you know what? I'm Australian. We just think that America and Canada is the same place. I mean, I have to be truthful. I know that you guys don't. I know that there's always, we just.
You're going down to Pac-Man, man. The ghost is coming for you.
I'll blame the schooling system. Yeah.
But do you have are you looking to open further countries like besides UK, Australia, and US?
Absolutely. I do some stuff in France. Like, I mean, I've got clients that are from France, Egypt, Greece, Italy, Dubai. I've got clients in Dubai. So literally I can do anywhere in the world. Those are the main countries that I serve. I can do different languages. So, I provide a lot of people to France. And so I've got virtual assistants in Egypt because they talk French. So, yeah.
We're going to get you into Canada within the next 6 months because you booked with Miss Liz. So we got to get you into Canada. We got to get you have some maple syrup. And
I love it. Well, my first call this morning was with a lady from Nova Scotia.
In Nova Scotia, look at you, Canada, 2 in 1 day. Have a virtual coffee with Louis.
I love it.
Well, Louis, what would you like the listeners to take away from Ironbrij tonight, and what services and all that can they find on your platform? And spell out the website for all the audio listeners.
Look, reach out and have a virtual coffee with me. I literally would love to help you. I'm not a hard sell kind of guy. I reach out, have a virtual coffee, and let's see if we can work together. You might find that I can help you promote your product. I know a lot of people have a lot of meetings, and then we can work out. I do virtual assistants. I help people to create. I've got a program where I create 6 months worth of content for you in 1 hour, and it's a genuine 6 months worth of content using AI. But have a coffee, work out where we go from there.
And the person and the one that does the 6 months content, is that one cute or is that?
No, that's me. You get to work with me.
Oh, look at that! I get to work with you. See, I told you, Canada. You're coming to Canada soon, there. So, can you just spell out your website for all the audio listeners, Louis?
So it's ironbrij.com.au.
AU, because it's Australia.
AU for Australia.
So what final message would you have for all the listeners tonight, Louis?
Honestly, the one takeaway should be you working out how much you want to earn this year, getting that figure divided by 2,000, write it on a Post-it note and say, is this worth whatever that figure is? And if it's $100, put it somewhere where you can see in your office. So when you're doing stuff, just think, would I pay somebody $100 to move this picture in Canva from there to there? And if the answer is no, you shouldn't be doing it.
Thank you so much, Louis. I really appreciated this conversation. I appreciate all the viewers and listeners that came in and asked their questions and who are checking out on different platforms. And yes, I do see you. So thank you for tuning in to Teatime. I could not do this without all of you guys. And Louis, thank you for coming all the way in from Australia and sitting and having some fun with me. And, going down some rabbit holes and having some giggles and laughs. That's what it's all about, is just having a good old open conversation. Check out ironbrij.com.au and reach out and have a virtual coffee with Louis. And you never know, you might just be his next guest or his next date, like Miss Liz was. And so I'm just going to do a wrap up of what tonight's tea time was. And then we'll be back on Thursday with the last 2 of May. And then watch out, June's release date is coming soon. I believe it'll be out on Friday. What an inspiring and empowering conversation today. Louis, thank you for bringing your honesty, leadership, and resilient spirit to the Teatime table. Your journey reminds listeners that true leadership is not measured by titles alone. It is revealed through consistency, perseverance, and the willingness to continue growing through life's hardest moments. Today's conversation explored the importance of discipline, mindset, endurance, and learning how to move through adversity without losing sight of purpose. One of the strongest reminders from today is this: resilience is not about avoiding challenges. It's about learning how to rise through them with strength, awareness, and courage. Whether through business, athletics, or personal growth, your story reflects the reality that every setback carries on opportunity to learn, rebuild, and evolve. Here's some food for thought to leave with everyone today. What if the obstacles standing in front of you right now are not roadblocks, but preparation for the person you are becoming, because growth often happens in the moments that test us the most. Thank you, Louis, for reminding listeners that endurance in AI is not only physical, but it is emotional, mental, and deeply connected to the purpose of today's world. Until next time, keep leading with resilience, keep moving forward with intention, and keep serving with real life tea, one conversation at a time. And I'll see everybody on Thursday, and we'll do it all over again.
Thank you so much.